The development studio Quantic Dream, which is responsible for games such as Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, is being accused of leaking information about its future Star Wars game, Eclipse, to test the emotions of fans and rewrite aspects if necessary. What do we know about the breach that occurred? We will have to hold off judgment until we determine whether the leak is accurate. Here is what we know so far. Let's look at the game studio's leaked Star Wars game to gauge interest. According to Insider Gaming, Quantic Dream purportedly leaked Eclipse data to gauge community reactions and assist with talent recruitment efforts. These details were revealed to a gaming podcast and contain plot and game specifics. According to the rumor, Sarah, a human-like character around 30 years old, will be the game's central character. This race is at the helm of some sort of empire known as the Zaraan, a race never seen before in Star Wars. According to the article, it takes pride in political and military aggression, and as with the rest of Star Wars, there is a little distinction between males and girls in terms of positions and responsibilities. However, there is an interesting wrinkle when the Zaraan marries, and it has interesting military ramifications as they become one ruling entity that operates together, the research stated. This is a dilemma because Sarah, a rabid true believer in violence and criminality, is often exhibited by her empire and is married to a far softer touch character named Zendo. A big chunk of the plot apparently involves these two people getting along in the game. The above-mentioned talent recruitment attempts refer to the fact that Quantic Dream is having trouble attracting new employees, likely due to a string of rumors claiming that the company is a toxic environment for men and women. According to reports, Star Wars Eclipse will feature a new race and center on a political battle. Story elements, including some primary characters, have also been disclosed in recent report from Sacred Symbols, paywalled, transcribed by VGC. The game, introduced at the Game Awards last year, is still in the early stages of development. This game, as far as I can tell, isn't actually in production yet, stated Sacred Symbols host Colin Moriarty. The podcast then goes on to explain documents handed to them that purport to give an outline of one of the game's primary characters, as well as their goals. The podcast also mentions that the game is being co-written by David Cage and Adam Williams, who have previously directed Quantic Dream products. Materials seen by this podcast explain a so-called Project S with a primary character named Sarah. Sarah is characterized as an athletic 30-something who belongs to a human-like race. This species is the ruler of the Zaraan, a previously unseen race in Star Wars. It takes pride in political and military aggression, and as in other Star Wars universes, there is minimal distinction between males and girls in terms of positions and responsibilities. But there's an exciting twist. When Zaraan marries, their marriage has interesting military consequences because they become one governmental entity that works together. This is an issue since Sarah, a fanatical true believer in the brutality and criminality often displayed by her empire, is married to a character named Zendo, who is a far gentler touch. Part of the game appears to revolve around these two characters and their connection. Following that, more specifics on Star Wars Eclipse's new race. The Empire appears to relate to the Zaraan faction rather than the Galactic Empire depicted during the Skywalker era of Star Wars. Star Wars Eclipse takes place at least 200 years before Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It's unknown if this plot will be used in the final game, as little information about the project has emerged since it was first unveiled during the Game Awards. Eclipse's setting was revealed in December. The game was announced at the Game Awards. Star Wars Eclipse is the first video game to be set in an undiscovered region of the Outer Rim during the High Republic era, known as the Golden Age of the Jedi, Quantic Dream claimed. The game will build on Quantic Dream's experience, providing deeply branching narratives and go beyond their previously established praise. Players' decisions will be central to the experience, as each selection can significantly impact the plot. The first trailer features stunning visuals, featuring shots of Yoda and the planet of Naboo. Next up, Star Wars Jedi Survivor could get a new trailer in December. Fans of the first game have cause to expect a gameplay extension with the Fallen Order expansion, which may contain additional weapons in addition to the lightsaber for Cal Kestis, the protagonist of Jedi Survivor. Although Survivor news has been limited, fans of the first game should reasonably anticipate this. Although Electronic Arts has not yet shown any actual gameplay for Survivor, the teaser trailer's cinematic flair implies that it will have a thrilling new story set in the Star Wars universe. The lack of gameplay does not appear to be symptomatic of any internal concerns, as sources report that the game's production is proceeding at a brisk pace, and there are no intentions to delay the game's release date, which is slated for 2023. Fallen Order fans may not have to wait long for information on the impending sequel, as a new trailer for the game could be released in December. Naturally, fresh trailers can confirm the predicted March release date and show Survivor's gameplay in action for the first time. Fans of Star Wars Jedi Survivor may be able to get their hands on the game sooner rather than later, according to reports that the game will avoid the delays that have plagued several other 2023 releases, such as Hogwarts Legacy. Moving on, Qui-Gon was born during the wrong Star Wars era. Qui-Gon Jinn may easily have been a member of a breakaway group that did not follow the same severe beliefs and standards as the Jedi Order. Jinn could have been a good Lonto because of his concern for all life, his interest in living force, and their mutual connection to the natural world. Because his openness to new experiences and ideas, he may have made an excellent Yakum. He formally collaborated with the Shadow Side and wants to establish a balance. If Qui-Gon had lived under the High Republic, it's feasible that his thoughts and philosophy would have grown further, allowing him to be categorized as more than just a gray Jedi. He would have been happier if he had joined one of the countless other light side groups. Qui-Gon, on the other hand, was physically born hundreds of years later on Coruscant, the homeworld of the Jedi Order, and was recruited when he was only 6 months old. Despite not entirely fitting the mold, Qui-Gon Jinn appears to have had little choice but to become a controversial Jedi rather than a potentially more successful servant of the light side belonging to another faction in the Star Wars galaxy. This appeared to be the only choice available to him. Following that, why was Kamino removed from the Jedi archives by Count Dooku? During the time of the Star Wars prequels, the Jedi Order had descended into arrogance and complacency. The Jedi were not only overconfident in their ability to harness the Force, still they were also bound far too intimately to the politics of the Galactic Republic, which was becoming increasingly corrupt. When he erased Kamino, Count Dooku utilized this fact to his advantage. Although many people are familiar with the world, including Obi-Wan Kenobi's friend Dexter Jetster from the diner, the Jedi believed that a planet was non-existent if it was not recorded in the archives. This sentiment was directly expressed by Jedi librarian Jocasta Nu in Attack of the Clones. Dooku's manipulation of the archives assured that the Jedi would not visit Kamino and learn about the clone army until it was appropriate for them to do so. This was necessary since Kamino needed to be kept secret while the Jango Fett clones were being made. Dooku removed Kamino from the Star Wars Legends Continuity archives and released 37 other significant worlds, like Dromund Kaas and Dagobah. Dooku obliterated each planet because he believed it would be valuable to Palpatine's plans. He did this to keep the Jedi Order at bay for a time, which allowed Palpatine's machinations to proceed unhindered. Finally, will Oscar Isaac come back as Poe Dameron? Fans are going crazy after hearing that Isaac is open to returning to Star Wars, although he has yet to provide a solid answer as to whether or not he is genuinely planned to return anytime soon. Given the current state of affairs with the Star Wars picture franchise, the most pressing concern is whether or not it'll take place. There are no signs of when the theatrical side of the Star Wars tale will return, with 2019's The Rise of Skywalker being the most recent film to visit theaters. For the time being, there are no indications of when the theatrical part of Star Wars tale will return. Since then, the production of Rogue Squadron has been cancelled, and the management structure at Lucasfilm has undergone substantial changes. As a result, there is a chance that the film production will be placed on hold for the next few years. There is still hope because there have been rumors that characters from the second trilogy, such as Poe, may appear in movies that are now in the works. Well, that marks the end of our video for today. We hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure to hit the subscribe button.